Welcome to Team 2's Assignment 1, a case study of learner support at Credenda College. This is presented by Deanne, Brenda, Roxana, and Ian. Today we will be providing an organizational snapshot of Credenda and describing the typical Credenda learners. We will also share with you our data collection methods and findings. Finally, we will discuss an academic support analysis, organizational analysis, strategic plan, and our conclusions. Ian is going to begin by taking us through an organizational snapshot.
Credenda is a virtual educational institution located in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. It serves both high school and college learners based primarily in the province. For the purposes of this presentation, our focus will shift to the college component of Credenda. Credenda was built in 2005 by the Prince Albert Grand Council to answer the need for rural Saskatchewan learners from both Lakeland and Red River colleges to complete online courses and programs for those institutions. The first student graduated from Credenda in 2008. If you look closely at the logo in the middle of this slide, you'll see that Credenda values courage, love, and respect. In fact, Credenda is a virtues-based institution, and virtues are chosen weekly to strengthen this approach to learning. All members of Credenda support these values by declaring virtue strengths and growing virtues. Credenda has a fairly straightforward organizational structure for a small institution, beginning with an executive board, a board, and a director of education. The director of education, of course, manages staff, e-learning course developers, instructors, and teachers. Credenda College offers 7 post-secondary programs which are accredited through Lakeland and Red River colleges. The certificate and diploma programs include business administration, early learning and childcare, educational assistant, and library training. All courses and programs at Credenda are delivered synchronously online using Illuminate Live and with e-teachers. The recorded sessions are available 24 hours a day and every day of the week. The college uses the Desire to Learn learning management systems. There are currently 133 students enrolled at Credenda in a wide range of courses. The most recent cohort of 2011 graduated 48 students with a success rate of 92%. Being a virtual college, Credenda has all their services online and are both academic and non-academic. The academic services, of course, are the teachers and the director, and non-academic would include services such as the IT help desk, guidance counselor, career counselor, scholarships, career ambassador, career planning, newsletter, and of course the website. The fees at Credenda are quite typical for a Canadian post-secondary institution, with diplomas and programs ranging from $5,000 to around $7,000. There are 2 campuses for Credenda, the northern campus in Prince Albert and the southern campus in Fort Capel, Saskatchewan. Typical learners at Credenda are mostly First Nations, typically female in their 30s, and are registered at Red River College and Lakeland colleges. Red River's in Manitoba and Lakeland's in Lloydminster and Vermilion, Saskatchewan. Credenda College has 2 types of partnerships. One are corporate partners who are in fact the funding partners. It's primarily through Cameco and Sask Energy that Credenda earns its funding. Alternatively, they have educational partners, and of course those are the 2 colleges that broker their courses and enroll their students at Credenda. And those would be Lakeland College in Saskatchewan and Red River College in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Thank you for that very detailed and clear organizational snapshot, Ian. We are now going to move on to Brenda, who is going to describe the typical Credenda learners as well as provide some information about the target population that Credenda wishes to reach.
Description of learners. Student profile. Credenda College is located in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. Although the city has a population of just over 34,000 people, Statistics Canada 2006, the majority of the college's students are from small, remote areas of the province. In 2011, 49 students graduated from a program at Credenda College. These students reside in 23 different communities. 1 student is located in Ontario, 2 are from Alberta, and the remaining 46 students reside in 20 communities in Saskatchewan. Over half of the graduate students, 55%, live in communities with a population of less than 3,000 people. 1 student lives in a community of approximately 7,000. 10 students live in cities between 10,000 and 40,000, and 1 student lives in a community in Alberta with a population of over 61,000. Statistics Canada 2006. 49% of the college's 2011 graduates are First Nations. 18.4% were Métis, 6.1% were non-status, and 26.5% were undeclared. Saskatchewan has 70 First Nations, 61 of which belong to one of the 9 Saskatchewan tribal councils. As of February 2009, the province's total registered First Nations population was 129,138, 12.5% of the total population of Saskatchewan. This population makes up 5 nations linguistic groups, including Cree, Dakota, Dene or Chipewyan, Nakota or Aspine, and Sutu. Statistics Canada 2011. The province's Métis number approximately 80,000, almost 8% of the province's total population. In 2003, the federal government reported that Canada's Aboriginal population has experienced a high birth rate in the past 5 years, increasing its population by 22%. 1/3 of the native population is 14 years of age or younger, compared to Canada at 19%. Noble Savage Media, 2003. The age of the students range from 21 to 57.5 years of age. The average age was 43. Within their communities in 2006, the average age ranged from 19 to 50.2. 8 of the communities had an average age of 30 or less, while 7 had an average age of 31 to 40, and an average age in 8 of the communities was between 41 and 50. Statistics Canada 2006. Within the communities of the 2011 graduate students, the education level of the typical inhabitant is low. On average, 42% have not achieved high school graduation. 24% completed high school, 11% acquired a trade certification, 11% completed college, 4% have attended university, but only 9% have acquired at least a bachelor's degree. Statistics Canada 2006. Typically, these percentages are twice as high as the Canadian standard. Health Canada 2009. In 2006, the employment rate in the communities ranged from 25% to almost 78%, with an average rate of 55%. 9 of the 22 communities had an employment rate of less than 50%, even though, according to Statistics Canada 2006, each of the 23 communities had a significantly higher number of employable inhabitants. 51 to 71% were between the ages of 16 and 64. In 2005, it was reported that the Native unemployment rate in the 4 Western Canadian provinces compared to non-Natives was twice as high. Noble Savage Media, 2005. In 2000, the median annual income of registered First Nations people was $10,600, compared to the rest of Canada's $22,300. Statistics Canada, 2001. Approximately 25% of First Nations housing has an inadequate water supply, and 19% have deficient sewage effluent systems. In 2001, almost 28% of Aboriginal housing was determined to be substandard, a factor which can significantly impact a person's wellness. Health Canada, 2001. In 2006, within the communities, of the individuals 15 years of age or older, 31% were never married, 54% were legally married, 2% were separated, 7% were divorced, and 6% were widowed. The average household size was 2.75. Statistics Canada, 2006. Throughout Canada, the First Nations communities suffer from a very high rate of suicide, substance abuse, and health issues. Noble Savage Media, 2003a. In 2003, the First Nations reports on heavy drinking levels was twice as high as the non-Native levels. Also, 73% of First Nations adults were overweight, compared to 48% of Canada's non-Native population. Well over 1/3 are considered obese. Health Canada, 2009. In 2003, 46% of First Nations people regularly smoked, compared to 19% nationally.
Thank you, Brenda. I will now move on to discuss how we collected our data and review the support network at Credenda. In order to understand the effectiveness of student support services being provided at Credenda, we analyzed student self-evaluations, we looked at reflections from a staff member, we interviewed Credenda Director Vince Hill, we looked at student records, and we browsed the Credenda website. Instructors from the Early Learning and Child Care, Library Technician, and Office Administration programs provided data from their student self-evaluations. We cleaned each dataset by selecting only those comments related to support. Then, we analyzed the qualitative data to determine whether students at Credenda felt supported in their programs. The data showed the following. Support from instructors was appreciated. This is illustrated by quotes such as, "I value the time spent on me and the patience that our instructor had for me and my fellow students," or, "I value the time and patience our instructor gave us." Students also appreciated the support they received from staff as well as their fellow students. One quote that stood out was that they really like the discussion forum. It helps when you run into a little problem with your assignments. Sometimes even you yourself can help a fellow student in the discussion area of Credenda. Students also mentioned that they were able to transfer their support learned at Credenda to their institution where they currently worked. One example came from an evaluation where a student said, "I'll be more aware of the needs of my patrons and how I can better serve them." Deanne will now discuss the support that is felt by the teachers, faculty, and staff at Credenda.
Do the teachers, staff, faculty feel supported? A better question might be, what does Credenda do to support the staff? Currently, Credenda partners new staff with a person to help show him or her the ropes. This mentorship helps the new person be more comfortable with the way Credenda works, and it also helps them learn the different programs that Credenda uses to develop the material and the different ways that Credenda interacts with students and the different policies that Credenda likes to use, such as the Virtues project and various projects that Credenda is involved in. Credenda also has weekly online staff meetings that include all the staff. They also have more focused individual department staff meetings that will be more focused on whatever department, such as college or a developers meeting or admin meeting, etc., that will help focus on that particular department's area and make it so that you can bring up your issues that are any issues you have that are relevant for your area. It seems to make it so that you can, in the big staff meeting, we all get to know kind of what's going on in all of Credenda, and we can find out in the general what's going on, and then in the individual more focused ones we can bring up the issues that maybe wouldn't be relevant to everybody else. Something that Credenda could do to better support their staff may be to keep staff better informed of upcoming events and projects. Sometimes you might not find out about something until the last minute, or there might be a new initiative that maybe not everybody heard about. So just broadcasting the message to everyone, even though we do have these meetings, sometimes the information doesn't get out to the right people in a timely manner. In the following interview, Vince Hill talks to the questions: are organizational outcomes being met? Could the services be delivered more efficiently, both in terms of quality, service, and budget? And are there any gaps in the support services?
Are the organizational outcomes for Credenda student success being met?
I would say that for the large part they are. I think that we have we certainly have some challenges, and one of the things that we've felt that is really important for us to achieve better outcomes is through exit interviews with students that may have left, whether they're successful or whether they have been dropped out of the system. I think it helps us understand better as to what the issues are, as to why students are staying with us or whether students are leaving us and what the issues may be. But overall, I think we're achieving the outcomes that we've set for ourselves in terms of the targets, but we're wanting to certainly increase those targets and get better results. Right now we're averaging anywhere between 83 to 87% depending on a semester, and that has a lot to do with the various students that we have within the system. So sometimes we've had lower numbers, but it's and once again it's dependent on the communities that we have and the kids that we have. So for the most part, we're happy with them, but we always strive to be better.
Could the services be delivered more efficiently, both in terms of quality, service, and budget?
I think there can be. We've recognized that the more students that we have, the better the more efficient we are as an organization. The cost per student goes down significantly. So what we have for targets for ourselves is that once we hit 150 full-time FTE First Nation students, those numbers drop. The cost per student goes down about $7,000, and then from there it drops down as approximately another $4,000. Doing online is not always cheaper, particularly doing it synchronously. and there's more cost involved for technology and things like that. But I think that we're looking at some different ideas in play, like flipped classrooms and drawing some from various resources. We're doing the co-op program as well, which is a program that's locally based. I think the co-op's going to help, and I think with some of we're calling it the 18 to 21 enhanced grade 10, 11, 12. We're not calling it ABE, but it's the enhanced 10, 11, 12 program, and I think that'll bring our numbers down as well in terms of what our quality, in terms of the budget-wise. It'll increase our numbers, and our numbers will bring more revenue in, but also I think the quality of service will increase as well because we'll have more students. And I always think that when you have more students in a classroom interacting, it always creates for a better results because students they sort of feed off each other. So I think it's better to get more numbers in.
Okay. Are there any gaps in the support services?
I think that one of the things that I feel, and I'm not sure if I say it's in the support service, I think our IT and our help desk and of course the registration and the student data stuff has all been excellent. I think the challenge that we face in terms of some of the gaps is getting better quality assurance in terms of at the local level with our site teachers. That's the real challenging piece for us as to whether or not we get a high quality individual at the site that's going to really promote the program and be there for the students. That's such a key piece in terms of support. In addition to that, I think that one of the things I think we need to tap into and maximize a little bit better is our social media strategy, and I think that's the piece that we're kind of focusing on right now. How do we increase that so that we actually draw our students in and get better results from that.
What about in regards to the post-secondary for support services for them?
We have a lot more students that are coming in and wanting to stay because they don't want to leave their communities, and so as a result they're really pleased to be able to participate in a program that's being provided to them there. We only have an 8% dropout rate in terms of students registering with us and not staying with us. And if we look at those numbers on the post-secondary side, compared to the national average, it's 15% of the students in post-secondary are dropping out of school, and our numbers are significantly higher. And I think it has a lot to do with our instructors who are really following up with the students on a regular basis and staying on top of it. I also think too that all the other supports that we provide for them, I think, produce the kind of results we're looking for.
What do you think we could do better for support services for the post-secondary?
I think that there's the thing about what could we do better. I still think that social media piece is a really important piece for our post-secondary. Not quite sure how that's going to materialize, but I know that that's a piece that we need to connect them better. I think what we talked about the other day in our in sort of our post-secondary meeting around the Credenda space and having more information and having that as a standard registration, that we would see better results on that as well. When people have more information about themselves and they can tap into it at their fingertips, I think we get better results in the long run with students.
Our team thanks Vince Hill for his agreement to participate in an interview with Deanne. Deanne will now summarize our team's findings in response to the question, are organizational outcomes being met at Credenda?
Leithwood et al. Developed a model of transformational leadership that includes the following 6 dimensions: building school vision and goals, providing intellectual stimulation, offering individualized support, symbolizing professional practices and values, demonstrating high performance expectations, and developing structures to foster participation in school decisions. As you can see from the organizational snapshot, Credenda has clearly built their school vision and goals. They provide intellectual stimulation not only to the students, but to the staff through scheduled professional development days, as well as supporting additional individual development. Each staff is expected to fill out a personal professional growth plan and review that plan with his or her supervisor every year. Not only does Credenda currently provide individualized support to staff, they have always offered and continue to offer individualized student support. If a student misses a certain number of classes and/or assignments, every effort is made to contact the student individually to find out why and what, if anything, can be done to help the student to succeed. Policies are reviewed on an ongoing basis and changed when necessary to ensure they are in line with Credenda's organizational outcomes. Where Credenda falls short is in developing structures to foster participation in school decisions. There currently is not anything in place.
In answer to the question, could the services be delivered more efficiently, it appears that the higher enrollment, the more efficient Credenda is as an organization. Online education is not always cheaper, and Credenda uses the flipped classroom concept. As per the interview with Director Vince Hill, the IT and help desk, as well as the registration and student data, are all excellent. What they do face in terms of gaps is getting quality service at the local level with site teachers. Director Vince Hill suggests that that's the most challenging piece. They want high-quality individuals at each site who are going to promote the program and be there for the students, and that is such a key piece in terms of support. It was also suggested that social media would be important to connect the students better. A total of 107 students registered for the Library Technician, Early Learning and Childcare, and Office Administration programs had an expected graduation year of 2011. Data provided by the Student Records Coordinator showed that only 49 of the 107 students graduated, suggesting that 54% withdrew. The 58 students that withdrew from their programs usually did so as a result of funding being cut. As Tinto 2006 suggests, it is our recommendation that Credenda collects information at some point prior to entry, during the first year, after the first year, and close to completion of the program. It is also suggested that they conduct regular exit interviews. This is echoed by Director Vince Hill, suggesting that exit interviewing of current leavers and/or follow-up interviews with recent leavers may prove to be particularly useful. I will now present an analysis of the academic support provided at Credenda College. As previously mentioned, learning at Credenda is self-directed, online, and virtues-based. The next clip explains the 3 virtues that Credenda has chosen to embrace. Cognitive enrichment advantage is also demonstrated at Credenda. The purpose of the cognitive enrichment advantage is to establish a school-based community of learners where all students can learn how to learn, become lifelong learners, and achieve greater school, social, and career success, as cited by Greenberg 2000. The cognitive enrichment advantage suggests that teachers must facilitate the learning process, guide students, and ensure that students acquire the skills to become successful, active, and independent learners. This is cited by Feuerstein et al. 1980 and Weir 1989 as cited in Greenberg 2000. The cognitive enrichment advantage embraces the constructivist approach to learning by encouraging schools to move away from the traditional view of teachers as knowledge experts and transmitters of knowledge, and it recognizes that students don't learn in a linear way. The student self-evaluation data demonstrates that the motivations for learning are quite varied among the learners at Credenda. Credenda uses the Illuminate synchronous and recorded lectures, as well as the D2L learning management system, and they have a wiki space for the help desk for eStudents. In our course notes, we learned that the life world is the name that Habermas gives to the everyday, interpersonal, social, and communications environment we inhabit and share with others, and the system is a structure of elements by which the instrumental tasks and functions are performed. The institution designed their virtues-based self-directed online learning approach with the life world of their learners in mind. In terms of student support, the life world and institutional system appear to be aligned. On the front page of the college website, it states, Credenda is a virtues-based school because this is the best way to help all who learn and work with us to reach their true potential. The virtues are within each of us, and they provide a moral compass to guide our choices. By supporting the practice of the virtues, Credenda not only facilitates excellence in learning, but excellence in life. Love, respect, and courage are the three virtues special to First Nations, and they have chosen to include these in their logo. It is clear from this quote that there is value placed on the life world of the learners at Credenda. Our research has shown that at Credenda, the system and life world are in alignment. Learners have a voice, support services are available. Credenda describes themselves as an institution that creates an engaging, meaningful, and safe online learning community, and the learners and staff are real people working together to encourage growth that prepares individuals for a future of lifelong learning. Ian will now provide a detailed organizational analysis.
Our team conducted an extensive analysis of Credenda College, and based on the organization analysis that we completed, we extracted the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats that related just to student services. What you see here is a summary of the key facts that we discovered. Credenda is a totally online educational institution, so it's really well supported with modern technology. Students can enroll at any time. The facilitators and teachers of Credenda are professional and well qualified to support their learning. Synchronous and recorded sessions are available online. Probably the biggest opportunity for Credenda is the ability to gain accreditation through the Ministry of Education in Saskatchewan. The institution really relies on Lakeland and Red River colleges to supply them with students, and accreditation would provide them an opportunity to grow considerably, and of course to start developing new partnerships. With growth in enrollment, the cost per student for support services would decrease, and this would also provide them with an opportunity to improve existing services, such as developing course and program evaluation, improve the tracking system, and also to improve the website with a better integration of social media. Probably the largest threat facing Credenda today is competition. Online institutions are growing quickly in Saskatchewan and, of course, across Canada. And institutions with better support services for online programs and courses would be, of course, the primary threat. The fact that their services are still growing and developing may, in fact, impede growth as well.
Thank you, Ian. We'll continue with the strategic plan for Credenda College.
Credenda College has a really admirable record as it relates to student support, with over 90% success rate. And it was felt that the institution would only have to focus on 3 objectives in order to improve the situation. The first was to get a sense of formalizing student support services. Currently, they are spread out through the high school and the post-secondary. Also, they're spread out between learners and teachers. And this would be the first objective. The second one was to improve visibility of learner support. And this can be done primarily with the use of updating the website and making some organizational changes. And lastly, the third objective is to improve student information management. And we felt with those 3 objectives that the institution could make some measurable improvements. The 3 objectives which we just described have led to the final part of the strategic plan, and those are some long-term strategies to improve student support. The team developed 11 strategies, and I would like to highlight some of them here that felt which should be mentioned. The first one was, of course, to implement program evaluations, which would be to begin with formative evaluation and indeed some confirmative evaluation to track student feedback. Another challenge that Credenda has is that because learners can enroll at any time, it's difficult to track learner progress, and it was felt that a stronger tracking system would help the institution retrieve and monitor student progress. One of the priorities for the institution should be to update the website. Currently, the website doesn't actually have a menu item which says student support, and so our suggestion and strategy would be to highlight and formalize student support services. Funding for programs and courses for students, and indeed funding for the institution, will continue to be a challenge. And so one strategy would be to encourage more of the sponsors and partners to create bursaries. One of the more interesting parts of this whole assignment was to get some experience in First Nations culture. And so the final strategy, the end of the list, is one which suggests that Credenda needs to develop a strong social media presence, but at the same time retaining that First Nations culture and values, which will help to maintain student motivation.
We would now like to present our conclusion for Credenda College. Thank you for joining us. Today's presentation has been brought to you by
Brenda Wiest,
Deanne Reese,
Ian McVitie.
And Roxana Dunn.